What's going on, guys? Welcome back to No Reserves Radio. You knew this was coming. This is our bonus episode post finals. Denver Nuggets are your 2023 NBA champions. Before we get into anything, before we even start talking about it, we need to do a little bit of a jersey retirement here, Angelo. By the way, it's just Angelo and I tonight. Austin, his appraisal came back on his house, so he's doing important grown up house stuff, so it's just the two of us. But we've got a jersey retirement
Jersey
to
retirement.
we've got to. So I'm gonna let you do the honors. You get to retire Stat Paddington because you said you were going to if he won. So, on the record,
Uh,
are you confident retiring that number?
I guess I really don't have a choice now, do I?
You don't. You don't.
Uh,
What number are you? What jersey number are you giving it? Are you just giving it Jokic's
0.
zero? Zero because it lasted for 0 years because you were wrong.
I don't know about that one, but I think it's a 0.
How do you feel about this season? Because like for an elimination
I
game,
felt pretty good for 2/3 of it.
but what I mean is like for an elimination game, the final game of the 2022-2023 season, uh, the biggest game of the year, right? And neither team scored 100. Like we were playing 90s basketball.
It was
Like
disgusting.
I've got a stat for you. Did you know? Hold on, I have
Paddington?
I gotta pull it up. You know, your boy loves stats. Uh,
It was a little bit
so
too much.
the Nuggets outscored the Heat by 13.6 points per game in the paint in the finals. Now, in this game, they shot like what was it? It was really bad. They shot terribly from 3 and the Heat shot decently from 3 and the Heat also shot well from the line and the Nuggets shot terribly from the free throw line. I don't know. Is this like a kind of a flashback to early 2000s basketball? Are we saw a resurgence of paint presence here where paint presence won the game. Like you had the better shooters, you shot the ball better. You still lost the game and you didn't even score 90 points. Like not everyone is Steph Curry. Maybe this is the turning point where we realize that and we go back to more well-rounded basketball. Probably not. Everyone's still going to be chucking threes all game. Um
As they should.
they definitely should not. What in hindsight, I want you what was your biggest shock from this series or this game? Particularly this game, but this series as a whole. What surprised you the most?
Well, the game, Murray only scoring 14 and the Heat losing. That was pretty. That hurt pretty bad. The Heat role players forgetting that, they were doing good the whole way through until it was time to face Denver. That hurt.
But that's the thing. So, like everyone thinks that this is the normal Heat, right? Like we went on a run where the Heat played really well. I will give you that. But besides Jimmy and Bam, nobody in this game should have been playing well from the Heat's perspective for the past month, right? So, let's go back to oh god, when was it? When was Linsanity? Let's talk about Linsanity. Where
2012.
whenever Linsanity was not 2012, there's no way. I I want to say 2017, but Linsanity was whatever you just said. Oh my god, it was 2012. Holy crap. That was a long time ago. Okay. So let's talk like Linsanity, right? So Jeremy Lin picked up I think off the waiver wire. First game with the Knicks, he scores like 14 points or 22 points, whatever it was. Immediately as a starter, he averages like 22 points per game over a stretch of games, and everyone thinks he's the best in the world. That's kind of the allegory for this Heat team, right? Because Caleb Martin is not a great basketball player. He's the best of the three. Gabe Vincent, not a great basketball player. Max Strus, not a great basketball player. But they played out of their minds early in this playoff run. I've been saying all along with every round prediction I make that, this was the round that they're going to regress to the mean. This is the round they're going to regress to the mean. They kept outperforming my expectations, but this is the Heat. The Heat that we saw here, this is this Heat team. They need to make changes this offseason. They know that. I believe something just came out this morning. I didn't actually read it, but apparently they tried to trade for Kyrie Irving.
That doesn't surprise me.
But besides that, like in this game, really in particular this game, but this whole series, it's Mike Malone outcoached Eric Spoelstra. And by that I mean the start of the fourth, it was a pretty close game, but Cody Zeller started in the fourth because they had to give Bam time to rest. Even though he's old, I would have gone with Kevin Love because he fared pretty well against Jokic. Cody Zeller started with letting Jokic score 5 points on him. How many points did the Heat lose by? It was 5. That was just a poor decision, and it was also they had to waste a timeout to get Zeller off the floor because it was clear he could not guard Jokic. But they just kept doing things like that. So for me, this wasn't surprising. I believe I projected this to go to 6 games, but that was because I thought the league was going to extend it. Austin said 4 and then 5. I
What
believe
teams
I
are
also
done?
said I believe I also said I wouldn't have been surprised if this was a sweep, and honestly, it should have been. Because the Nuggets just played terrible defense in that second game, and then also the Heat's utilization of the zone, which they again did not really go to much in this game. Let's talk about other stats because I know Angelo is a fan of stats, so I'm gonna spitball some stats for you. So the Heat scored 100 points per 100 possessions, and it's 100 flat. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Over the last 3 games of the finals, it was the fewest the Nuggets have allowed over a 3-game period the entire season. And this is actually the lowest regular season defensive ranking for an NBA champion in the last 22 years since the Lakers did it. This was the second worst 3-game stretch for the Heat. They didn't score 100 points in the last 3 games. And I think they only got to 90 once.
Pretty bad.
Nuggets, on the flip side, scored 94 points on 96 possessions in Game 5s. It's 97.9 per 100. It was the Nuggets' least efficient offensive performance of the playoffs and was also the least efficient offensive performance for any winning team in postseason or in the postseason. The Nuggets also had their second worst 3-point shooting game of the season, 102 games total. They went 5 for 18 from beyond the arc. They were also the 8th worst free throw shooting game of the season, going 13 for 23. The Heat, on the flip side, shot 24 for 61 from the field, 22 for 54 from the paint. It was the first or the third time in the finals that they made less than half of their shots in the paint. Aaron Gordon was the leading scorer in the paint, which is kind of surprising to me.
That's not really surprising to me, honestly.
It is to me when you have a game that features Nikola Jokic and Bam Adebayo for Aaron Gordon to be the leading scorer in the paint, but whatever. What was the other one? Oh, over 20 playoff games, the Nuggets were outscored by just 3 points with Jokic on the floor. That's insane. We'll talk more about Jokic in a minute, but Stat Paddington is retired, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Nuggets only lost 4 games in the playoffs. Clearly the best team. So before we talk about Jokic, history was made here in multiple ways, and we'll talk about that in a minute with Jokic. But the Denver Nuggets, this was their first NBA championship. So there are 10 teams remaining in the NBA that have not won an NBA championship. I'm going to list them off relatively slowly so you can play it along at home here. So these 10 teams, who have you got up next for the best shot to win their first NBA title? The Brooklyn Nets, the Charlotte Hornets, the Indiana Pacers, the Los Angeles Clippers, Memphis Grizzlies, Minnesota Timberwolves, New Orleans Pelicans, Orlando Magic, Phoenix Suns, and the Utah Jazz. Now, give it a second, think about it. Who have you got, Angelo?
I think that somehow it's going to be the Magic, somehow, some way.
My pick is the Phoenix Suns just because as of right now, I think they have the best roster to compete. Um, I was honestly like looking at this list, like I know they've never won, but I was surprised the Magic hadn't won, given how good Penny and Shaq were, and even Dwight to an extent. Like he could have carried a team, but
I mean, to an extent, they did. They both made finals appearances.
yeah, but I mean like winning one. Like yeah, I would have thought just on paper the Orlando, but I would have thought the Phoenix Suns and the Utah Jazz both would have won too, based on like Charles Barkley and Karl Malone, John Stockton. Um, I think the furthest away is definitely going to be the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, it's definitely the Nets are the furthest away. Timberwolves, uh, uh, that's a while. New Orleans Pelicans, they're probably my dark horse third option because I do agree with you that I think the Orlando Magic are number two. I think it's Phoenix, Orlando, and then the Pelicans, and then maybe the Clippers.
It depends on what Phoenix does moving forward, or not Phoenix. The Clippers do moving forward if they, try to keep PG and Kawhi there. Then who knows? Maybe they got a shot. Who knows?
Um, I think the Magic, just because of how young and talented they are, they do have a really, really good shot. But Booker and Durant for the Suns, like that's a really easy team to build a bunch of role players around, in my opinion, to compete for a title.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think we generally agree on that matter. Um, let's talk about Nikola Jokic. Let's
yeah.
specifically zero in on Nikola Jokic. Do you know? I'm gonna ask you. What player led the playoffs in points scored?
Nikola Jokic,
Yep. What player led the playoffs in rebounds?
Nikola Jokic,
Absolutely. Hey, what player led the NBA playoffs in assists?
Nikola Jokic,
Absolutely. So, do you know who the only player to have led in all three categories is?
Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, it's Nikola Jokic. Um, so you are officially retiring, Stat Paddington, right?
Yeah, I am a man of my word.
Okay. Which you have to because this man is clearly the best player in basketball right now, and it is offensive to say otherwise. It is absolutely offensive to not acknowledge how great this player is because I don't know if you watched the post game interviews or whatever. This man does not enjoy basketball. He's just here for a paycheck. He treats this like a 9 to 5 because he got visibly sad when he found out he had to go to a parade next week because he wants to just go home. He's done for the year. He doesn't care. There's all these memes. I've been posting them in the group chat all day, like of him just looking sad, spraying the champagne everywhere. Like he does not want to be there. And there are people, I don't know how like
You don't know how
truthful
what?
they are. I don't know how connected they are that are concerned that Jokic is going to retire early because he just isn't having fun. Like this is literally just a job to him. And so with that in mind, we need to be acknowledging this while we're able to witness it, just how great he is, because we've never seen anything like this. And to say things like, oh, the narrative is why we don't call him the best player in basketball this year, He stat pads. No, he doesn't stat pad. Russell Westbrook stat padded. Russell Westbrook was waving teammates off so he could get a rebound. Nikola Jokic is just that guy. Do you disagree?
Yeah,
I'm making you answer this question.
it's all good.
No, you have to
It's,
answer the question. I'm not letting you not answer the question. That is not an option.
it's an option,
It is not
but
an
I'm
option.
exercising.
No,
I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment options as a U.S. citizen.
that's this. No, no. We're okay. So those of you at home, look at your little timestamp and see how long the episode is from this point, because I'm not moving on until he answers this question. So we're going to be sitting here, however long that is.
Okay. So how was the weather today?
It's a little chilly, a little rainy,
It was very
little.
rainy for me too. I got soaked going
That's
home.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not. We are not moving from this segment until you either agree or disagree. There, do not sit on the fence post like a little baby. Answer the question.
Is he the best player in the NBA?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, there we go. Was that so hard?
Yes.
Um, and it's not debatable at all. When you look at any advanced metric, which advanced metrics are more important to look at than like points per game or like assists per game or anything like that, because that could be stat padding, right? Advanced metrics let you see how efficient a player actually is. And I shared with you earlier the Raptor ratings for Nikola Jokic, and it's just not even close. Like, there is not a player in the NBA currently close to Nikola Jokic. Will that change next year? Possibly. I think a lot of Jokic stepping up had to do with the fact that he was sick of the narrative around it. Um,
I
but
wonder how he got sick of it when he doesn't watch the news.
um, I don't think it's necessarily like he cares. It's just it's annoying. Like if you constantly are flipping on ESPN or whatever, and you're hearing about how you don't deserve to be the MVP. Okay,
I
that's
don't think Nikola Jokic knows what ESPN even stands
he
for.
probably
That's how
doesn't.
little he probably watches it.
But the point is, I think it did hit a nerve. I don't know if he necessarily cares or if it's just like
Well, how did it hit a nerve if he doesn't care?
because it can rub you the wrong way, or you could want like you could have a desire to. Have you never done something that you don't enjoy doing just to prove someone wrong?
No, no, I
Okay,
haven't.
well I have, but
Uh,
that's like I could see Jokic doing that
I,
because it's just insane how far away from everyone else in every advanced metric he was. Um, so what do you think the Heat need to do this offseason if they're going to get back to being, an 8 seed in the play-in?
if they're going to get back to being an 8 seed, nothing.
Oh, I think they need to do something.
To maintain being an 8 seed in the East?
Gabriel Vincent is a barely an NBA player. So yes.
Well, barely.
Oh, barely. Um, Jimmy Butler. Let's talk about Jimmy Butler.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's talk about Jimmy Butler. You're the Jimmy Stan. You're the resident Jimmy Stan for No Reserves Radio.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Jimmy, or Himmy, as you call him, the Himmening, starting an elimination game 2 for 13 from the field? That's your
That's
that's your top player of all time.
that's a rough way to start.
That,
That is a very rough way to start. Yeah.
that's not just a rough way to start. That's one of the worst starting performances of all time. You know who, off the top of my head, had a bad start like that?
Who's that?
Damian Lillard in 2021. You know, the guy you constantly like to dunk on. He 1 for 10, not 2 for 13. Like he wasn't that bad. He was 1 for 10 though.
Is 1 for 10 really that much
And
better than 2
it
for 13?
wasn't. Well, and you also have to remember that wasn't an elimination game in the NBA Finals.
Oh yeah, Dame was never gonna get there.
Yeah, he could have.
No, he's not. Well, don't pretend he is.
But 2 for 10. Is he still him? Is he himmy?
The boy had a rough series. He'll be back.
Or he
He
just
shall return.
played like Jimmy normally plays?
He shall return.
I don't. We talk about narratives, but we ignore history, right? That makes no sense to me. So, a player gets hot in the playoffs and we act like this is their normal. It's not. This isn't, oh, he's rising to the occasion. No. This is he's on a hot streak. If you're the best, you're the best. Do you think LeBron James sucks in the regular season and then is suddenly good in the playoffs? No, he's always good. Nikola Jokic, he's always good. Steph Curry, he was always good. Get off of this BS where, oh, this is really him. This is who he is. No, he's playing hot right now. Stop the stupid narratives. Jimmy Butler is a great basketball player. He's one of the best in the world right now. I'll admit to that. But to act like he is some elevated player in the playoffs, no, he went on a hot run. And that should be that's
Twice.
commendable. That's great. He went on a hot run when it mattered. But
Twice.
that's not who he always is. Twice over what, a 13-year career? Wow, high percentage. You know what else is 2 for 13? His shooting at the start of the game.
Oh. That's
So
just mean.
but it's true. Like that's the thing that bothers me so much is we get on these players where we act like they're good because they have a good run. Linsanity. Let's go back to Linsanity. People thought Jeremy Lin was an all-star that season because he had a good couple weeks. He had a good couple weeks and we acted like he was an all-star. Gabe Vincent, great first 3 rounds. That's not Gabe Vincent though. That was Gabe Vincent for those first 3 rounds. That's not who he is. That's not who he'll be. Caleb Martin, yeah, he had a decent finals. It wasn't anything like his first 3 rounds, but the decent finals is who he really is. Like that's who he was in the regular season. These players don't elevate in the playoffs. That's not a thing. You're either that guy or you're not. Let's stop pretending that getting hot in the playoffs is who you really are, because it's not. Show me that in the regular season. Show me that on a consistent basis. Kobe was always good. MJ was always good. You have to pay the price to get admission. So if you want to be one of the best or top 75 of all time or whatever it is we were arguing or debating, show it. Show me consistency, show me drive. If it's only when the lights are the brightest that you suddenly 2 times in your career go on a hot streak in the playoffs, that's not drive. So yeah, 2 for 13. Way to go. Do you want to defend Jimmy at all?
I mean, it was a pretty rough finals. There's not much to defend.
I'm talking overall because this is my dunking on you here. This is where we dunk on Angelo. Because for the record, for the listeners at home here, hold on. For the listeners at home here, after Game 4, series is 3-1. Austin and I, we're antagonizers. But Angelo is also an antagonizer, so it's not like we're bullying. I mean, we are, but like we all do it to each other. It's fine, okay? Listen.
Fine.
So we at Angelo in the group chat with how you feel about the Heat being down 3-1. This asshole. I'm just gonna say it. Like this episode's getting the non-explicit or the explicit.
Oh no, it's bonus. It
Comes
always
out.
gets non-explicit.
Okay,
Or it's
what the
explicit.
fuck ever. This is explicit. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because I've had to stop myself like 10 times.
Nope. You
This
can say
asshole
whatever.
comes
Bonuses
out.
are always explicit. Keep that in mind. Go on. Sorry.
This asshole comes out and says, it's not impossible, it's just improbable that they come back. He was still saying he won 7 after those embarrassing 2 losses. That's how much on the Jimmy bandwagon Angelo is the hemming. In
It's
our
gonna come for
2K
you, man.
league, he has Jimmy Butler, and he says it every time anyone plays him. The hemming.
Because they can't beat me.
This is the real hemming. So defend Jimmy. Don't strike me down. Defeat me. Is Jimmy Butler actually that guy? Is the hemming a real thing, or is it just a convenient excuse we make when he goes on a
Well, it's
hot streak?
definitely a real thing, especially with Miami because he's done it twice on Miami. To defend Jimmy in the previous seasons, he was on that Minnesota Timberwolves team, which was so dysfunctional and it had so little drive that he had to take the backups and defeat the starters in a practice. Same with the 76ers, which were so dysfunct that he wanted to come back. And honestly, if it wasn't for that Kawhi shot, he'd probably still be in Philly.
I don't think so.
I think he would. Well,
I don't
I
think
don't know. It depends because Philly's management, according to him at least, very not cohesive, very up in the air, very we don't know what's going on in any particular day, and
I'm just
that was
saying.
back then. What's that?
So after Kyrie got traded to the LA Lakers,
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James tweeted cryptically, maybe it's me. Jimmy Butler doesn't have the self-awareness to realize maybe he's the problem. Maybe he's just a little too toxic. This isn't like
Maybe it's him. He made 2 NBA finals after he left those organizations.
I'm saying like
LeBron
maybe
James, say what you will about him. Maybe it's me. Maybe you made 9 straight NBA finals. Maybe it's him.
what I'm saying is Jimmy Butler has, I don't want to say a victim complex, but a chip on his shoulder for sure. And granted, he did have the whole rough upbringing. I get it. His mom kicked him out when he was like, what, 13? Told him, I don't like the look at you. You got to go. Like, I get it. He actually had a rough upbringing. But, like, you're an adult making hundreds of millions of dollars. Grow up. Because this whole, like, oh, y'all wouldn't be anywhere without me. Y'all need me. No, they don't. No, they don't. Like, maybe don't be toxic to your teammates. There's a difference between, like, expecting the best out of them and getting rid of the dead weight, like what MJ would do, where he would trash talk the crappy players and they'd either play better or they'd be gone. Kobe Bryant, same thing. You're not Kobe. You're not Michael. Sit down, do your job. Once you have established, like, you are a player that's going to win MVP awards, you're the most valuable player on your team, then you can talk. But until then, you're just another cog in the machine that is your team. Stop thinking so high of yourself is the point I'm making, because those teams, the Chicago Bulls, the Philadelphia 76ers, solid teams. Probably if Jimmy Butler had stayed with the
Minnesota Timberwolves.
Minnesota Timberwolves, well, not so much the Minnesota Timberwolves. That one was
Uh-huh.
a dumpster fire. I will give
Uh-huh.
you.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But the Philadelphia 76ers, had Jimmy stayed, he would have a ring. He might even have an MVP. But because he decided to be a dumbass and think he's better than everyone when you haven't won shit.
Was it
What?
because he felt disrespected from Philly? They didn't know what was happening day in, day out.
You don't need
That's
to
what he
know.
thinks.
Show up, do your job, go home. You haven't won anything. You are essentially under, just for the record, I'm going off of your metrics. This is the Angelo rubric here. You haven't won anything. You're a nobody. Prove it to me. If you can beat the starters with the backups, why can you not beat the other team starters with your starters? Because you're not that good. Stop thinking you are the best player in the NBA. You're not. You never have been. That's the point I'm making. oh, you can beat the starters in a practice game with no contact. Why can't you go beat the other starters with the starters? I'm waiting. Are you going to answer? Hmm?
I mean, they were pretty successful while he was there.
Did they win anything?
What, the Timberwolves?
Yeah.
Didn't they go on a hot run to end this play during their regular season?
Did they win anything?
At that point, no.
Then it doesn't matter.
Good. I'm
Right?
glad. You know what?
Right?
I am glad that you have accepted my rhetoric as,
That's the point
factual.
I'm making. We're talking about
I'm glad.
a player who has historically been toxic in his locker room. Maybe this time he hasn't been. We don't know yet. When he leaves this team, because right now he's saying like, "Oh, we're gonna win it." Like, no, you're not. Like, this was the best chance for the Heat. Correct? Like, we're in agreement there. This was the best year for the Heat.
I mean, we thought 2020 was the best year for the Heat too, and then this year happened.
I
So
didn't.
you did it.
You've got to remember 2020. I don't like. Obviously, it counts. I get it. Whatever. But there's a difference. There is a very stark difference from COVID to the COVID year to now, right? Winning at home or winning on the road when there's a crowd involved is a completely different experience. We can see that. When you're playing on the same court every night with no fans, you're playing a pickup game. That kind of benefits veteran players a little better, in my opinion. But so yes, it counts. I get it. I call it the Mickey Mouse ring, but it does count.
Thank you.
But you
Thank you
haven't.
for acknowledging that.
I do put an asterisk next to it, but it counts. Like, it goes down in the history of the NBA. Like, yes, the Lakers won. Cool. They won. I'm not gonna say they didn't. I'm just saying, like, it's a lot harder to win on the road when there's a crowd, and it's a lot harder to win on the road when you have to travel. You didn't have to do that in the bubble. That benefited the players that play better on short rest because every day was a short rest. Um, where were we going with Jimmy? Like, you were attempting to defend him. You did a terrible job, by the way. Just F for effort.
Yeah, I mean, well, sometimes you
Bam,
have
I
a
think
bad finals. At least he's been there twice.
it's.
Well, sometimes it happens.
I mean, KCP's won twice, so KCP's better than Jimmy Butler, right? That's your logic. He's been there twice. Yeah, KCP's won twice. It
KCP hasn't been the driving force on the team.
doesn't matter. He's been there, right?
It matters.
I, I fail to see the difference. Bam played pretty well, though. I
He
think
did.
Bam had a pretty solid finals performance. And really, this pains me to say, I think Kyle Lowry played very well in the finals.
Yeah, especially the last two games.
I think Duncan Robinson and Kevin Love both played pretty well, all things considered. Caleb Martin, of the role players, played quite well.
He played
Even in that last game, I don't. Why do I not have the box score in front of me? That's the one
I don't
tab
know.
I should
You
have.
think that'd be the first thing you had up is you take your victory lap? Huh?
No. I
Pretty
don't
bad,
need it.
honestly. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, Caleb Martin had 10, 5, and 1. Um, on the flip side, obviously Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, great seasons, great playoffs. Aaron Gordon had a really not great elimination game, but overall, I think Aaron Gordon was a positive contributor to the Nuggets this season or for these finals.
Oh, 100%.
For
He is
KCP, also great. Bruce Brown and Christian Braun, or it's so discombobulating because it is Christian Brown, but it's spelled Braun.
Mm-hmm.
But both of those players, like, you could expect one of them to have a good game pretty much every night. One of them would play absolutely awful, and then the other would play good, and it made up for it. But yeah, overall, I think the Nuggets, just as a whole, depth-wise, played really well because Jeff Green at any given time could go out and give you 10, 15, whatever.
Yep.
DeAndre Jordan got some minutes in that final game, which, you love to see. DeAndre Jordan got a ring before Chris Paul. You gotta love that. Um,
Well, you have to love that.
I mean, I freaking love it. Absolutely, you're right. Uh,
Does all the key players from the Showtime Clippers have a ring now, other than Chris Paul?
does Blake have one?
Does he? That's what I'm asking.
That's a great question because, like, I don't know off the top of my head. NBA. He does not.
So he does not.
And I mean, he has a shot at it. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're saying, does this player have it? Like, he could have been a 8th man or 10th man on a team.
Yeah. Yes, he could have.
Oh,
Yes, he could have run.
let's just go
Yes,
ahead and way too early predictions. This is our way too early predictions.
Oh, okay.
2023, 2024. Holy crap.
We're getting
Existential
old.
crisis.
Yeah.
2023, 2024.
We're officially middle aged, by the way, if you haven't noticed. If you don't
2023, 2024.
know.
Who are you taking?
From the East?
Sure, East and West. I don't care.
From the East? That's a good question.
From the East, I got Boston.
I think Milwaukee's going to take it. I think there's this weird, like, rock, paper, scissors playoff structure in the East where, like, and Miami is involved in it, which is hilarious, but Miami beats Milwaukee. Boston should beat Miami, and Milwaukee beats Boston.
What
Do
about the
you
West?
agree?
Um, I've got Boston. I think the path is correct. I just think next year, whether they've got Jaylen Brown or not, I think next year is the year Boston makes it back to the finals.
I've got Milwaukee. Hmm.
What about the West?
That's a great debate.
Um, that really is. It's probably going to be the Nuggets again, but I'm going to throw a curveball.
Log in for the Nuggets. Go on.
I'm going to throw a curveball. And this is based on nothing but gut feeling. Like, I am going purely on instinct here.
Phoenix.
OKC.
What?
OKC. Think about it.
No, you're
Think
nuts.
about
You're
how good
nuts.
it... No. This is...
Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I like it. It makes too much sense on paper, and maybe it's because I played so much 2K lately, where young players develop in an absurdly fast clip, and Chet Holmgren, who's never played a game in the NBA, is overrated. But
I've
um,
broken you with that.
but it's just like, look, I wouldn't be shocked, is what I'm saying.
I would.
I wouldn't.
I think. I think the
Sacramento's an outside shot. I
no.
think it will be the Nuggets. I'm trying to not say that though.
Depending on how everything shakes out in Phoenix, I actually kind of like Phoenix.
I mean, I do like Phoenix as well, but I'm trying to, hot takes here. And I'm totally not just
What about
saying
the Lakers?
Sacramento. Lakers, no.
Lakers. Okay.
No. Maybe the Mavs, depending on their offseason.
That's actually the dark horse team I was thinking of is the
Because they
Mavs.
get LeBron.
But
That's a good team.
That's a good offensive team.
It's a really bad offense or defensive team. First time a team's made the finals being ranked 30th in defense. Let's go.
Okay, so do you think that could happen though if the Mavs
I
got
think their offense would be so unstoppable that I wouldn't be surprised.
gotcha?
Because what do you do? Like, how do you stop that team? Do you double team LeBron? Do you double team Luca? Do you double team Kyrie? Because all three of them would need a double team.
Pretty
And
much,
then you're
yeah.
leaving one of them open. Granted, LeBron's not, this isn't 28-year-old LeBron anymore. He's not going to get to the rim at will, but he still can do it better than most.
Yeah, he's still one of, I'd say, top 10 players in the NBA right now. Now, depending on if regression ever hits him,
It will. I
how?
mean, it already has. You
Yeah, you're right.
hit him
But
harder
yeah, it
because,
has
like,
on the
as
defensive
of
end.
now, he's doing the best Tom Brady impersonation.
I think
Um,
we've ever seen.
yeah, no, it's remarkable that he can still go out and get you 40 that late in the season, like in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know how much longer he's going to do it, and that's kind of
Has,
sad.
has he played the most amount of minutes in the NBA, like in history?
I
It's
think
either him or Kareem, I think.
it's still Kareem, but I think he's close.
Yeah, but he
Most
has to be. He has to be.
it's real close. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is still the leader.
Okay.
Number 2 is Karl Malone, and then LeBron James.
It's surprising that he hasn't passed Malone.
It's real close. So Malone is at 54,
Does,
852.
does that include playoffs, or is that just?
I don't know.
Because I
But
think if you include playoffs, LeBron has to have the most minutes.
so LeBron needs 2,000 minutes more to beat Kareem. He needs 800 more to beat Malone, which he'll definitely get next season.
Oh, easily.
I could see him eclipsing Kareem next season. That's seriously surprising, though. But it's in less games because LeBron is averaging or has averaged more minutes per game. So he should catch up if he continues to average the minutes per game. Weird to look at, honestly.
It's crazy.
What are you now that we're in the off season? So our off season episodes will start on Sunday. We will get Austin's thoughts on this finals, but it'll be
Oh
very
yeah, we
quick
have to
and
start
brief.
off already.
But it's time to start in the off season. What are the things you're looking most forward to this
Oh,
off season? And
wait a
don't
minute. Wait a minute. Time out. Does that mean that during the actual episode you will not be going on your little victory tour?
Oh no, we'll be victory touring. That's the first segment, homie. That's in the flowgram. Have you not read it yet? Oh yeah, you don't have it yet. It's in
I,
there. It's literally bold, underline, italics. Rehn and Austin victory lap. Dunk on Angelo. That dunk on Angelo is a hashtag, by the way.
it's a hashtag.
A hashtag.
It's a
So,
hashtag.
so what going into this off season are your expectations? Do you think this is going to be a quiet off season or a big one?
I think. I think it's going to be mixed. I think that the free agency looks pretty terrible. You and I
Okay.
both agree on that.
The RFAs
So
look pretty nice, but the UFAs are horrible.
we can agree that generally the RFAs are generally going to stay around.
Yeah.
I think that the lack of free agency will cause more trades to happen than we're used to. So I don't think it's going to be terrible, but I don't think it's going to be great. I think it's going to
So
be.
who do you think the biggest name on the move is going to be?
I think Chris Paul is going to be on the move, but I don't think that's the
That's
biggest
what I was
name.
going to say. I think Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown, LeBron James. Those are the
At
first two
this
that
point
came
in
to mind.
their careers, I think Jaylen Brown would be the bigger shock. I think that would be the bigger move. Uh, Outside of that, Mikal Bridges, maybe from Brooklyn. Do
Yeah,
you think they'll hold on to him, or do you think they're just going to cut their losses and trade for PG?
depends. I think part of them will probably hang on to them and hope he becomes like a star. Well, he kind of already is a star player, but like take a next leap so they can get more from him in a trade. I think Brooklyn's holding is basically what I'm saying. You there?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking. I think Jaylen Brown is the biggest name on the move this season. Obviously, like James Harden will probably be moved, but I think the biggest, most impactful player for next season will be Jaylen Brown. I think there's going to be a lot of assets being flipped at the draft, which the draft is coming up. I don't know if we're going to do a mock draft because like, Angelo doesn't follow college basketball. I mean, I barely do, but Angelo doesn't at
Barely.
all.
Yeah, no.
And Austin's kind of hit or miss, so I don't know if we'll
Barely
do like
even do the March Madness brackets. I don't even think I do that. I haven't done one in years, honestly, beyond years.
I love them. I'm terrible at them, but I love them. Uh, so I don't think we're going to do that. So expect this offseason, we are going to continue giving you weekly content.
Yep.
We've actually got everything kind of mapped out so that we actually have an idea for every week. It's going to be more on par with a lot of our earlier stuff where most of you that are listening now have been with us for the playoffs.
Yeah.
You haven't been there, or you haven't, unless you have gone back. I'm not saying you haven't. I'm just saying a lot of our earlier
Boy,
content is
run!
a lot of themed episodes. So we will be doing more themed episodes, more fantasy draft type things. It's going to be a fun off season, but then as we get into things, we'll do a draft review. We'll do free agency trades, that sort of thing when that happens. We've got a jam packed plan for this off season, so we will be with you for the entirety of the off season. If you like what we do here, follow us on all of the social medias. We are on every platform at No Reserves Radio. There is a couple where we're at No Reserves _ radio, I believe, but I don't remember what those are, and Austin is not here. But if you can't find us on, say, Twitter at No Reserves Radio, check it with the underscores. Adam set them all up, and Adam's been gone for like 8 months now. He might be
Bill,
coming back. Who knows?
I mean, technically, Adam is coming back in some regard because he will
He will be a
part of.
part of the Twitch streams. Yeah, absolutely. And if you aren't aware of that, if you've blacked out during some of the episodes, because I gonna be honest, sometimes when I listen to Angelo, I also black out for like 15 minutes. Um, we're gonna be doing Twitch streams starting sometime this summer. It'll start probably with 2K, but it will be involving a lot of other games, and it's gonna be kind of casual. It's not something. If you're not a gamer, you can still tune in. It's gonna be the same kind of conversations we have, but we'll be playing video games while we do it. That's what this all started as, was our
You,
conversations while we were playing. We thought maybe that would make a good podcast, and you know what? I personally have enjoyed it. I don't know if y'all do, but I do. So if you like this kind of content, check us out when that comes out. There will be more information as we go. But the point is, follow us on those social medias, because then you'll know when we release these bonus episodes, because they don't have a schedule. But you'd find out on our social medias once Austin starts doing it. Angelo sounds like he's going to say something, so I'm going to shut up now.
yes. If you're used to watching basketball like Rehn is and watching organized and coherent basketball, that is not what's going to be happening on our Twitch stream.
Yeah, no, it is incoherent. It is stupid. It's a lot of alcohol and a
Yeah.
lot of shit talking each other. Like,
Yeah.
so much shit talking. You
Yeah.
might learn new words. Imagine that. Imagine tuning into a fucking Twitch stream and you learn new things to add to your vocabulary. Keep your phone near you, because
I can be pretty creative with words, so
it's pretty shitty, honestly. We're terrible friends.
yeah,
But
we are.
um I don't know. I don't really have anything else. Do you have anything, Angela?
Um, yes, is on the show sheet the overall playoff record. Post your little
Uh,
victory lap.
I mean, you can put it on there. I don't have it.
Austin has it.
Austin has it.
Austin
Austin is like the adult of the group.
barely.
So he's the one that, I mean, none of us really qualify. but he's the one that actually like manages the shit. Um,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter. The matter is who was right about the finals because I pick the Nuggets every time. So
That
that's
is
not
the
true.
only prediction that you got
That's
right the whole
not
playoff.
actually true because round 1 I predicted the Kings to win it all. But yeah,
No, the Nuggets might be the only like whoever the Nuggets were facing might be the only matchup you got right the whole playoffs.
no, that's not true at all.
Is it not? Who did you get right?
Ooh, hold it
I'm
back. I don't have, dude, dude.
telling
That's
you,
not
I don't
fair.
think you got right. Boston. You got Boston right. You got
Okay,
Boston.
Boston. So Boston for
First
sure.
round.
Playoff brackets.
Boston in the
Playoff
first
brackets. So
round.
okay, to be fair, we all picked Milwaukee. Let's start with there. Okay,
Okay, that's fair. That's
we
fair.
all picked Milwaukee.
That's fair. That's
Cleveland, New York. We all picked Cleveland. That was a 4 or 5 seed. It could have gone either way. We all picked Cleveland though.
yes. We did.
Philadelphia, Brooklyn. We all picked Philly.
But Philly won.
I know. So I was right there, you dick. Boston, Atlanta. We all picked Boston.
Yeah. As
Denver,
we
Minnesota. We all
should,
picked
as no one should be
Denver.
should pick Trey in a playoff series. But go on.
Just wait till next week's episode, y'all. Just wait till next week. It's
What
gonna
you
be.
got? You got Atlanta coming out the East.
No, I said Boston.
Oh, okay.
Denver, Minnesota. We all picked Denver. I was right there, so I was right on 3
Yes,
so far.
everything with Denver, you were right. And so was I
Phoenix,
actually
LA.
until the finals.
Phoenix,
I-
LA. I predict Phoenix.
Phoenix lost
Sacramento, Golden State. I said Sac.
and
I'll admit I was wrong there. Memphis versus LA. We all said Memphis.
No, we didn't. I said LA. I was the lone LA. You can go back. You can watch the recordings. You can
No,
see.
so I said, and you can watch it.
Oh
I
my
said,
God! Don't you dare start to qualify this.
no, did I not? I want you to tell me I'm wrong here. Did I not say Memphis, LA, but this was the best chance for an upset?
It was that or something else.
It was this or Golden State, Sacramento, but I said this.
Technically, both happened.
But was I wrong? No, I mean I was. Like I
You
said
was wrong.
Memphis,
Yes, you were wrong. Just
but I
say you
said
were wrong.
the point is I was not 0 for 16 or whatever.
It felt like you were.
That's because you're an asshole. So, yeah. Anyway, we will have a full episode on Sunday. Back to our normal schedule. Don't know how many bonus episodes we'll do. The bonus episodes were kind of related
Playoff
to
related.
the playoffs.
Yeah.
If something major happens, like in the off season, like there's a big, like not the trade deadline, but like
If LeBron
free
James gets
agency.
moved to Dallas.
Like if there's like something big that happens during free agency or the draft or whatever, we don't want to wait till Sunday to get an episode out because we want to be your source of information because I don't know why.
Why either?
But going forward, unless something spectacular happens, we will be back to our regular schedule Sunday 6 a.m. Join us.
Oh.
Um, while you're eating your Cheerios on a date, whatever it is.
On a date?
On a
Bro,
date,
that would be
we
so
established
freaking weird.
this.
Hey,
We
chick.
Everyone,
Hey, chick. Hey,
Angelo
chick.
forgot last week's
Chick.
episode already.
Chick. Hey, chick. You should go listen to these guys. These guys talk about basketball. Go on, sir.
We established. Do you not remember me asking future Angelo to put on some Barry White?
And I didn't. And
I
I
know,
I
but
am
you're acting surprised that I'm saying this, but I've already said it. So, however you listen to us, whether it's alone or with your significant other, do you? Like it's fine, but you should totally both listen to it separately because that gets us more listens, and that's great for the
you
algorithm.
you money grubbing greedy son of a bitch.
It's not that. It's like the dopamine releases when I look on the RSS feed and I see like green. Great.
There's gonna be a moment if this actually, takes off, where Ren is now gonna start comparing us to other podcasts, and He might actually even get on Twitter and take shots at the people just below us, just to
start
get
drama.
just get
You
the
know
extra
me
dopamine hits.
so well.
Huh?
You know me so well.
Yes. No. Watching, I might actually just browse Twitter just to see Rehn getting in Twitter beef with Joe and John and their NBA talk.
I mean, you totally should. It's gonna be hilarious. But no, seriously, guys, we have wasted so much time at the end of this episode. If you are still here, thank you. You are great. You're listening to us ramble for no reason and extend this longer than it needs to go. We will see you on
No reserve
Sunday.
over Joe and John's. Go ahead, sorry.
We will see you on Sunday with our regularly scheduled programming, which will be back to the fun episodes. I know some of you really like news and really like talking about games, but some of you have hinted that you really want us to get back to doing the fun stuff, and that is what we're going to do starting on Sunday. This one is going to be a little bit interesting. I'm not going to give any like teasers or spoilers, but yeah, I am. So we're going to be defending each other's points. I mean, that's the
Oh,
idea.
that's this Thursday?
Are we doing it this Thursday? I thought that was the point. That
I
wasn't the
thought it
plan.
was next Thursday. Well, I got some
Enough
prepared.
plan? I
I
thought that
got
was the plan.
I got
I
some
might have just screwed Angelo over, but I don't
just,
care.
just
The idea is we are going to be defending each other's topics, so like
woo.
something we don't believe in, we have to defend. It's gonna be fun and stupid and
I'll get my best Ren voice going on. I'm not gonna bust it out now. It's too good to
too good.
show on a bonus
Here,
episode, but
here.
on the actual episode.
Anyway, shut the hell up.
What?
That's not just directed at you, that's directed at me. Shut up. Stop talking. We will see you all on Sunday. Love you. Bye.